We're just moving paint around for a little bit. Oh, why are you like this? I haven't heard that in so long. I mean, I technically still haven't heard it except for me saying it. Can you say, why are you like this in a dramatic way for me, please? He's preparing himself.
Why are you like this?
That was nothing like it's ever been said at the store, but I really appreciate the energy and effort level that you put into this. I want everybody to know in chat that he, like, was standing and then dropped to his knees and was very dramatic, and I love him. Oh, nice. The Speed Freaks box. Excellent.
I have no idea how loud that was.
Hopefully not super loud. Oops, I am so sorry. I probably just bumped you guys.
Oh, no.
The tip of my brush knocked into the camera. Dude, that makes sense about it being like a fluorescent orange. I could totally... Yeah, I totally could believe that. Well, certain fluorescent colors do look, when just very layered and everything, which I imagine that's just a very opaque color, can be, you know, very solid like that, so I'm not surprised. I guess I should paint this side, shouldn't I? That would probably be ideal. Let's use a little bit more water. See if we can just spread it around. Oh yeah, I should have done this from the beginning. See, this is why we do this, because now we've learned. And in the future, we'll do it better.
What happened?
Oh, see how I've used the water to sort of spread the paint around, and now it's not sticking to the top as much?
Yep.
But it's actually going in my grooves.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what is happening.
So you thinned your paint.
Yes! Like the great Duncan says, thin your paints.
All hail.
All hail the great Duncan Jones. No, not Duncan Jones. Duncan Rhodes? Right? Yes, Duncan Rhodes, sorry. Duncan Jones is a different person.
It's actually two different people.
Two different people. You know what? While we're hailing people with the Rhodes last name, you should also hail Dusty Rhodes. You should hail Dustin Rhodes, and you should hail Cody Rhodes. All good Rhodes. And
all members of Nightmare Family.
And Brandy Rhodes, yes, of course. And also Brandy Rhodes, all great Rhodeses. Are you eating Dunkin' Donuts? I don't actually like Dunkin' Donuts personally. I'm a Krispy Kreme person. I just think they're better donuts. You can all fight me if you disagree. Well, they can. They won't win, but they can indeed fight me. Okay. I think for a first layer, other than maybe this side, oops. Since there's a little bit of gapping there. There we go. All right, so we're just gonna set. Try not to touch it. That's.
Duncan, Idaho. Duncan, Idaho.
Oh yeah, Duncan, Idaho. Sure.
Now my question is: are we talking about a Gula Duncan, Idaho, or are we talking about the OG Duncan, Idaho?
I have no idea.
And like, because there's a wide variance of Duncans.
They're also talking about Duncan Yo-Yo, and also Rocky Road. I don't know why we're talking about Rocky Road, but that's a delicious ice cream, and I like Rocky Road. I like the little marshmallows in them. They are good stuff. All right, so we now have this portion of the figure. I think I'm definitely going to treat this the same way I'm doing that. The vines up her. I think I'm going to do in the purple.
Yep.
I think I'm going to do that in the purple. And then for her skin tone, I'm thinking maybe Gilliman flesh. I don't know. Do you think neutral Do you guys think neutral, or do you think I should do another bright color? And if I do another bright color, a green maybe?
My recommendation, go with the Fire Slayer flesh. It's a very orange flesh.
Okay.
And that might match against your orange-purple motif.
All right. So John's suggesting the Fire Slayer flesh, which is still a skin tone, like an actual skin tone, but it's more orange, so it will go with the orange tone there, which I did sort of talk about, I think, actually at the beginning of the stream. So I like that idea. So we're going to close this lid because these pots of paint constantly want to get knocked over and spill everywhere. And we're trying to avoid that because I don't have access to more paint now, guys. It's very upsetting. All right, and we're going to shake some Fire Slayer flesh. Do you know what happened to the little metal balls that we have? Okay. Probably. All right, and we're going to get a little bit of this onto our palette, which I have no idea if it's actually on your screen or not. I think a little bit on there.
I don't know where they are.
Yeah, I'll have to find them. I have these little, like, Army Painter makes those little mixing balls that are these small metal, like, ball bearings, basically. They work great for mixing up the contrast paint, or just any paint. The only ones I wouldn't recommend really putting them into is maybe your dries, unless it's starting to actually like dry out and you're needing to mix it and add something into it to sort of wet it again. But we're going to go ahead and start on her flesh a little bit. Yeah, it's doing that thing again where it's pulling away a little bit. I don't know what's causing that because I feel like she's pretty well covered. I think I want that to be paler. Yeah, no, that's just pulling away too much. Hold on. I gotta...
You know what it probably is? It's a bone, their bone's black, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's that.
Oh, maybe. It's weird though, because it's a very... So he was saying, I don't know if you guys heard, but... So the paint keeps pulling away from this, even though I primed it in like the contrast paint. But I'm wondering if something about the bone's black plastic is not allowing it to like... hold or flow normally or something like that. I'm gonna do a quick like brush over of just normal Wraith Bone like base paint out of the pot and see if that helps hold it, and maybe it's just that I didn't layer well enough, or if it's something about maybe the plastic. If any of you guys know in the comments what you think it might be, let me know, because this is the first time that I've actually experienced this. Like, I got it to work on the top, but I had to really layer the paint heavily, and this I actually want to go on kind of pale and thin. So we're just gonna sort of thin this a little bit, spread it out on the palette. Just add another layer of paint to her because I don't know why this isn't sticking.
Someone in the comments has said that turquoise would split the compliments.
That's true. I do have like this kind of turquoise, or do you think something more green? Like I would think more green if
just to get further away from the purple.
Yeah, if I was to do it just to get further away from the purple and really like have more of a cool tone in there. Because I almost think like there's a they have this sort of the Militarum green, like might be a good color. What's happening here? Oh.
What?
Oh, I think I had a hair like trying to poke me in my nose.
No.
And I don't know if it was actually visible. I know you do. I know you like bright. But this is, I mean, this could work. Chris, if you think this might, like, is this the color turquoise you were thinking, or were you thinking something darker, more blue, more green? So I'm just layering some more of this base coat color, since it doesn't want to stick super well. Let's see if this helps. Alright, we'll just let her dry for a little bit. And can I get you to change this water for me?
Yes.
Thank you. My water's very orange, so I'm asking John to change it for me. And while we wait on that, I'm just letting this dry. This looks like it's drying pretty well. The groove portions have sort of filled in. I got a couple places here that I'll need to redo. I might be able to move a little bit of paint. There we go.
Your water, man.
Thank you. Move you back off camera. All right. I think probably actually pat dry some of this excess paint. So I'm just using a paper towel here to sort of pat dry the top, since I'm gonna not keep that orange on the top anyways, so that I can flip this over and actually get working on the bottom while that dries. So Chris says a blue-green would look cool on the clothes or hair. Yeah, no, I think so. I think I have... What if I did... I have Gryph Charger.
Gryph Charger is gray?
Yeah, but it's like a blue-green gray. Too muted?
I think it's too muted.
Okay, maybe that's too muted. What is this one? Oh, what about Terradon Turquoise?
There we go.
Yeah, what about this color? So maybe something more like this.
That's the lizard man turquoise.
Yeah, and this looks really pretty when it's done a little bit more pale, because this is really opaque and saturated. So maybe we'll play around with that on her skin tone. That should be fun. Hopefully that'll also stick better than maybe the Gilliman's. Maybe it's something specifically about the orange tones that's having a problem. All right, we're just going to sort of drop this in, because this entire bottom portion... Yeah, see, this is doing it too. Why do you do this to me, paint? I think it is. I think it's something about the bones black. Because that is so... it just does not want to stick to this.
Reaper, having learned about Citadel's secret contrast project, determined that the only way to thwart them was to create a material incapable of taking contrast paint.
Oh my goodness, Reaper, why? Why would you do such a thing? That is not what they did.
That is indeed what they did.
No, it just is. Oh my god, this is so weird. Okay, hold on. Ooh. Getting paint everywhere, you guys. Oh, probably don't shake a paint bottle while holding a paintbrush that is loaded with paint.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, probably a very bad idea.
Near the canvas.
Yes. Oh, you know what? This might be a perfect time for this gigantic brush.
Still doing it.
Still doing it. It is taking the paint better.
No, it's not.
Well, I'm spreading it out more, I guess. Well, no, it is. It is as a thinner medium. Interesting.
Did you add any contrast medium to this?
Not to this one.
I would do it. Use the contrast medium.
Okay. All right, we're gonna finish doing what we were doing, which is getting contrast medium out, because this is clearly having a problem. All right. So I got some contrast medium on the palette. Yeah, no, that does immediately start making it work better. Weird. That's just, I don't get it. I've never had to add the contrast medium to the paint before to make it stick. But in this instance, I really do. So strange.
It's the material.
Yeah, it just must be the material.
So someone explained some of the reactions I saw the contrast early on too.
Oh, yeah, why some...
Maybe we're painting on stuff that wasn't whatever Citadel's
plastic type is.
Premium bullshit.
Right.
Language.
No, it's okay. He was just saying, in case you guys didn't hear, that a lot of people, we saw a lot of complaints about contrast paint when it first came out. And he and I were just kind of like, well, I don't really get that because in our experience, it was working great. But we also were primarily painting on Citadel miniatures. So maybe something about like their premium plastic or whatever that they use for all of their product just happens to also naturally work better. Maybe it's more porous for this type of paint. That actually might be the problem.
Are using a large brush?
Oh, I'm going to. The reason I'm using this right now. So he suggested to use the large brush. I'm going to use the large brush in a second. I'm just using this because I have contrast medium all over this brush because it's what I dipped into the pot itself. So I'm just using it as much as I can to spread it around because I want to use up all that medium. And try not to waste my materials.
Since we can't
get more. So sad. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Yeah, Chris had the same problem with the Reaper.
Oh, did you? You had the same problem? Okay. So that makes sense. Maybe it's just something about, oh gosh. I forget that the bottom of this is still, like the other side is still kind of wet. And so I keep sticking my hand against it, or I'm holding the miniature and it keeps getting all over my fingers. So now my fingers are very orange. Okay, that's working much better now that we've mixed in some contrast medium, which is good because it was looking a little anemic. And we are getting a much better fill now.
How's the music?
The music is lovely. Hopefully everybody in chat is also enjoying the music selection. We wanted to just... Yes, chilling to these fine synth grooves. That is looking quite lovely, if I do say so myself. As I am using one color.
One whole color.
One whole color. To be fair, I mean, it looks good for being one color because that's the whole point of contrast paint, right?
So what is the purpose of this miniature?
The purpose of this miniature is mostly that when I saw it originally on pre-order, because for those of you in chat that don't know, I am the buyer for Games of Berkeley, and I was like, that's really cool, I want one of those. And so I pre-ordered one for myself, along with... My life is very hard. I pre-ordered one for myself because I thought it was cool, along with the ones that I brought in for the store, and I just had it, and I've been sitting on it for a while, and I wanted something for the stream that was going to not be like super tiny, and it would have bigger surfaces for me to paint, because I just figured that'd be more interesting for you guys to watch, hopefully. And just to be different from, like, I also wanted to do a not Citadel miniature because last week Paul painted some GW stuff and I just wanted to differentiate it for people. In case we had some repeat viewers or whatever. And I haven't really painted much in the Reaper line of the Bones Black stuff yet, so I thought this was a great opportunity to. And that is why I chose to do the Fungal Queen. Also, I wanted to keep on to the theme of butts. Because he had butts last week, I have butts this week, and now we have a theme of butts. So, we've got that going for Games of Berkeley. Hopefully everybody's cool with that. It's happened now. You can't stop me. Ha 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 ha. There's a delay on you. I've lost control. Or I've gained all of the control. Who knows?
You're wondering.
Yes. Oh, excellent.
See what we have.
Hopefully I've shifted so that I'm a little bit more on screen. I apologize for being like in a slightly awkward position. Hopefully this is better. Kendra has the same mushroom lady for months, and this is already painted more than yours. Yeah, I mean, most of us tend to sit on miniatures for months, if not years.
Not I.
John claims that he has not, but that's not true. Unless he just blames all the unpainted miniatures on me and all the painted ones on himself.
No, I simply don't sit on them, for that would be uncomfortable.
Oh, I guess sitting on them would be uncomfortable. That's true. I don't mean literally sit on them. I just more mean keep them in storage and look at them every now and then going.
I want to do that retro minis here. I think we should.
Yes, so he and I have been talking about for Hobby Night, our YouTube channel for tabletop miniatures and gaming and everything. It's my channel, yes. But he helps me on it. He does all my editing because he is the bestest. One of the things that we were talking about doing, because we were like, okay, well, eventually we're going to run out of stuff to open because we will have opened most of our things. So we won't be able to do unboxings anymore until stuff starts opening up. So what are some other things that we can do that's still on theme? And one of the things that we were talking about, and I touched base on it a little bit in one of my vlogs recently, is one, we found a bunch of old like white dwarfs that we have, as well as some like really old codexes or just rules books for Warhammer 40,000. So we're probably going to do something maybe on that in the future. But we also have like a stupid large collection of just older miniatures. And so we want to showcase some of those in a video at some point and maybe paint up some of them. Like I have an old Pedro Cantor miniature, who is, for those of you that don't know, he is the captain, or the chapter master, sorry, for...
now he's the chapter master.
Well, now he's the chapter master. He at the time was not. But now he's the chapter master for the Crimson Fists of the Imperial Fist chapter for Warhammer 40,000.
Father.
And father. And so, which was my first army, which is why this is relevant. So the Crimson Fists were the first army I ever started in Warhammer. And so I thought it might be cool to build and paint him for the channel because one, I don't actually think I've ever painted a metal miniature before. I painted one. I painted at least one metal miniature. It was not a GW miniature. It was actually a Reaper miniature. It was one of the old... So like when you buy from Reaper online, and I think this is true for not just wholesale purchases, I think this is just true normally. But if you buy from Reaper direct, you occasionally will get, I think like if you spend a certain amount of money, you'll get like up to a certain number of free just like miniatures from like random lines that they choose, and it varies each month or something like that, or possibly every 3 months. And so they give those out if you're ever doing like a con and you're small and you're approaching them and saying like, hey, I have this convention that we're trying to do, which is how we got them, because we, well, John actually had started a convention when we were in college. And so we approached Reaper and was like, hey, we're doing this con. It's small, local. We're not charging anything for it. It's for this college.
Oh, wow.
And
is that really the first one?
that is the first, yeah, that is the first metal miniature that I ever painted. So we contacted them. They were like, yeah, sure. And they sent us a bunch of metal miniatures. So like for anybody that's ever doing some sort of organized like paint night and you're wanting to help get like miniatures to do that stuff, contact the companies directly. A lot of the times they will send you small like packages of like, here are these like 5 miniatures in multiple quantities and like a certain amount of like either sometimes paints or brushes, depending, and they'll help you get that going so that way you're not having to spend the money on it. That's what we did, at least for SwarmCon.
And to be clear, this was 9 years ago.
This was 9 years ago, but I'm pretty...
not promising that Reaper does that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% Reaper does it still, but I suspect that they do because I feel like I remember seeing something recently on like Reddit, maybe where somebody was talking about it or something. I don't remember. But they might still do that, but it doesn't hurt to ever ask. So just always reach out to those kinds of companies because they do sometimes try to do support, because that means then more people will be like, oh, I really liked painting that miniature at that thing. I should go buy more of those miniatures, marketing. Woo. But yeah, that's the first metal miniature that I painted. It was like a little, ghost caped dude with a sword. I don't remember which one it was. I know we sell it at Games of Berkeley. But that was the first one. And I think that's like one of the few, if only, metal miniature I've ever painted. So I was planning on, that should dry some more. We're going to start painting this. But I was planning on painting that at some point for the channel. And I've kind of rambled and stopped painting. I apologize. This is not the color I want. I want this blue color, like what Chris was talking about. I don't know. Oh my goodness, yes, we do need to paint. I just looked at chat for the first time after rambling for whatever number of minutes that was. Gwendol's 42 says that someone needs to paint that Bootylicious Cthulhu. Okay, so I have actually been very regretting the fact that I didn't grab the big Cthulhu from my office before, or from our office before we close the store, because I actually have been thinking about that and going, man, that would be a great thing to at least show off, but like progressively paint over time during the shelter in place. And I'm very, very sad that I don't have it. So for those of you that don't know, I realize this is partially out of context and only the employees and my husband understand what I'm talking about. So I was very kindly gifted the entire Kickstarter edition of Cthulhu Death May Die that came out from Cool Mini or Nots like last year or so. I don't mean, it's not me flexing. It was very kind. Thank you, Robert, for doing that. You're probably not on the stream, but he's the one who gave it to me. It was very, very sweet of him. I could never thank him enough. It's very cool. I haven't played it yet, but I want to. It looks very, very good. But so part of what came with that is this gigantic, toddler-sized miniature, which is weird to call it that, of Cthulhu. That is the end boss for the game. Like, he is the board for the end of the game, which is really, really cool. I saw it at Gen Con 2 or 3 years ago before it was out. And was like, oh, that's really cool. And I picked up the miniature and everything. And that's, I think, where he decided to get it or whatever. But yeah, so I'm really sad that I don't have that to do something with while we're locked inside. But we're going to go ahead and start putting this teal. Okay, so layering it helped a little bit. I might still need to add a little bit of contrast medium to this because it's still not quite sticking super well. So let me just clean this brush so I don't get too much paint into my contrast medium pot. That would be bad. A 50-piece villager set? Oh, yeah, I know which one that is. That's a really cool set, actually. I think I have that. It's the one with, the blacksmith, right, where it lights up. Is that the one you're talking about? I mean, he's not even a wee butt, though, that Cthulhu. It's huge. It is seriously the size of a toddler. It's insane. But yeah, no, I know if that WizKids miniature set that you're talking about is the one I'm thinking. That's a really cool set, but yeah, no, that's a lot of miniatures to paint. My biggest complaint about WizKids is just that they have some really gnarly mold lines sometimes. This had a few. I cleaned it up a little bit before I primed her. Oh yeah, that is sticking much, much better. Oops, I am probably completely off screen. I'm so sorry. And I also have my brush way low overloaded. Just try not to waste paint. Mix that up. Just getting some stuff off of her because I kind of overloaded my brush a little bit. There we go. Oh, the music just went away.
Oh yeah, that one. It's switched over and started in the middle instead of at the end, so I brought it back.
Got it.
All fixed.
Yay, music is fixed. There we go.
Man.
That is a butt.
That's her butt.
That is her butt.
That is her butt.
My goodness. Who would have thought? Wah! And this is where we get to the silly part of the stream. It's still not sticking super well, but we'll make it.
That really tells me it's plastic.
Yeah, yeah, it must be. Interesting.
And I agree with, I believe that's Angel in the chat, that we need to plan a heist.
I mean, I would also like to break into this. I mean, what? No, I don't actually want to do that. I'm a little sad I've been cut off from supplies, I'm not gonna lie.
We could, like, I'm not gonna talk about how we break and then do that.
No. I do like this color. Chris, this was an excellent suggestion for a tone on her skin. I'm also doing it on the vines, actually. Yes. Yes, I do.
I don't know, it's cooling. It's not glowing. Well, is it?
No, it is pooling a little bit. I'm just trying to spread it around.
Yeah, no, you're doing a good job with it. I'm not trying to keep you up. It's more like, that stuff is still not moving.
Yeah, it really just does not want to move quite the way.
It wants to a normal plastic.
Yeah.
So, hey, we learned something.
Yep. Possibly not the best thing to use with contrast. May not be the best thing to use with Reaper Bones miniatures. Or at least Bones Black. Yeah.
This is a Bones Black.
This is specifically a Bones Black, so I'm curious if this does this with what is it, their normal Bones line or their metal. God, that is something I'm very curious to find out, is how contrast works with metal. Because I imagine it's gonna do this, but worse.
Say hello to the 15 people in chat.
Hello, 15 people in chat. That's awesome. I had no idea what to expect numbers-wise with this. But I am glad that the 15 of you can join me. Let me know if any of you guys are working on any product or projects in the chat. What hobby things have you guys been doing while we've been on this lovely shelter in place? Trying to keep everybody safe and healthy. Make sure everybody's washing their hands. It's very important.
All right, Angela.
Yes.
Since I can tell you are struggling for things to talk about.
I am more just concentrating, and so like I'm forgetting to talk. I'm so sorry.
Twitch.
It is. I'm not cut out for the Twitch life, guys.
That's
So
disappointing. You want to be in social media.
I know. I gotta work on it. All right, but you were saying, because I'm struggling.
So.
Yes.
What would you say is your feelings on day one of the WrestleMania?
Oh gosh. Okay. We're diving into this, folks. We're going to talk about my feelings on day one of WrestleMania.
Not day two.
Not day two, because WrestleMania this year.
We will not discuss the Funhouse.
Was in fact 2 days, despite the fact that no one was there, which is a little ridiculous, and it's going to be a historic moment for them to talk about for years to come. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the first day, I didn't watch all of it. I admitted this in my vlog. I'll admit it here. I didn't watch all of it. I still need to watch the ladder match, which I heard is probably the best match.
I think we missed the best matches on day one.
I think we missed the best matches on day one, but of the matches that I did see, which was the Drew Gulak, who was Drew fighting? I don't even remember. It was okay. I don't remember who he was fighting. I'm sorry. It was.
Shout out in chat.
Oh my God, we have a shout out?
No, you need to.
I need to do a shout out. Throwing our weekly plug for BerkeleyReliefFund.org. Yeah, go to BerkeleyReliefFund.org and help support. To support Berkeley, which is where we are from. Yay, go Berkeley Relief Fund. Sorry, I haven't, listen, I'm not good at this. Back to something I can talk about, which is wrestling. Day one was just, I wasn't super impressed.
Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss won the tag team women's champions from the Kabuki Warriors.
Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss won the tag team championship from the Kabuki Warriors. And okay. I like both those teams a lot. I like everybody to varying degrees in both of those teams. Some of them a lot. Asuka's my girl. She will always be my Empress of Tomorrow.
But tomorrow never comes.
Tomorrow will always be coming for her. Check out Kana-chan TV on YouTube. She's hilarious. Right now she's just been dancing for 15 minutes at a time. It's ridiculous. I think it's the right I don't know if it's the right move, actually. I don't know what they've been doing, really, but I feel like...
Your boss said we could break into the store.
Don't actually give me that permission.
We stared in boss afterwards, which I don't know what that means.
Yes, you should definitely break into the store. Stairs in boss. I mean, if Gwendolyn says that it's fine, I'm going to assume that it's fine. I don't know why she supersedes you. She really shouldn't, but I'm going to boost her ego and say that I'm going to listen to her. And she says that it's fine. Therefore, I'm going to go get paint. It'll be great. Then I can paint more things. And that will also be great. Because painting's great. And everybody should hobby more because it's important. And I think it's a good stress reliever. And really, we need a lot of stress relief right now. So paint to your heart's content. Or do the things that you find are fun. This has been Emotional Time with Angela. I got really distracted by how well I like the screen on her arm. And so I stopped talking. I apologize. You know what? I've made my final decision. I think it was the wrong choice to take it off of the Kabuki Warriors. I think they should have held it longer. I know that Kairi Sane is looking to leave WWE. But I really think that they should have held it still. Like, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are great, and I love them to death.
But Asuka has her YouTube career.
I mean, she does. Asuka does have her YouTube career. This is not wrong. But I also want her to be champion. And God, her makeup was on point. It was so good. The splatter stuff she does on her face for, like, the spray. Because she has this gimmick right now where she, like, sprays out green, like, mist into... Ooh. Chris made a dice tower in acrylic, and I'm going to mold it in silicone and cast it in resin. That sounds so cool. You'll have to show me pictures of what that looks like. Or put it on, like, a place I can find them. Because that would be really, really neat to look at. Never really used a dice tower, actually. Now that I think about it. Like, I've owned some. But I never really actually roll with them.
I don't know what resin colors to use.
Oh, nice. What color options do you have? Like, I've not actually explored resin that much for, like, casting or anything like that. So I don't know, like, how many options there are. I assume there's a lot.
You know, for the sake of the majority of the people out there who don't give a damn about pro wrestling.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Explain to them.
Yes.
The Boneyard Match.
Okay, so the best thing about the first night of WrestleMania was by far the Boneyard Match.
Because The Undertaker is still wrestling, ladies and gentlemen.
Because The Undertaker...
who in 1998 threw Mankind off the roof of Hell in a Cell.
Yes, did you know that in 1998, The Undertaker threw Mankind off the roof of Hell in a Cell into the announcer table below? Spanish announcer's table, in fact, because... But anyways, yes, sorry, the Boneyard Match. So the Boneyard Match was WWE's attempt to do something unique with the event, because obviously this is not what they had planned. They wanted to have a live audience, but they couldn't. So they had The Undertaker feuding with AJ Styles, who is former TNA champ, right?
He is a very good wrestling redneck. That's really all you need to know for the sake of this story.
He's a very good wrestling redneck who basically was insulting The Undertaker because The Undertaker's like...
The story is not important. What is important is how it resolves.
Okay, it really isn't important. But the point is that AJ Styles is basically calling The Undertaker an old man.
They filmed a horror movie.
I'm getting there. I'm rambling though.
You are, but...
So basically what they did is they filmed a horror movie as a wrestling match. And through it, The Undertaker was just beating up AJ Styles, which is hilarious because AJ Styles also is not a young man in wrestling like terms. So it's just very funny to see this one old guy beating up this other old guy. And it was an old biker fight, and it was amazing.
In a graveyard.
With druids. And was there flamethrowers?
Yes.
Oh yeah, there was. There was pyro.
There was a laser show.
There was a laser show. The Undertaker teleported.
He did teleport.
Which was fantastic. And then he buried AJ Styles. Alive. I think AJ Styles is dead canonically on WWE, so that's great. And then, so on top of that, they had that match. Fantastic. Oh, no. I'm not gonna, so there's one other match, and I'm not gonna go into super detail because unless you watch wrestling or are familiar with like...
A David Lynch match.
They made a David Lynch match. Is how I've been told to describe this. And so there was another match, and another wrestler, I'm pretty sure is also just dead, canonically.
His soul has been possessed by a demon and will now be a puppet.
I really hope so. So John Cena, for those of you who might know John Cena, his soul is just gone. He fought in WrestleMania Day 2, Bray Wyatt and The Fiend in the Funhouse. And I know this makes no sense out of context, but just go with me. Just imagine all those things and just let your imagination run wild, because you know what? It's going to run wild on you. But like, so, God, it was just so good. It was so good. If you are familiar with John Cena's career at all, I don't know if it's up on YouTube yet, but once WWE posts the full Firefly Funhouse match, go watch it. It's a trip. It's just so good. It's just so good. I love wrestling. It's so great. This teal is coming out really nice. I'm going to do cleanup, basically. So my thought process in this, because I've just been layering one color of paint haphazardly onto this miniature for a little while, to get back to that so I can stop talking about wrestling for a little bit. So my plan is I'm going to, I think, do a bunch of dry brushing on this and keep her relatively simple with her details. I'm just going to let these individual colors sort of bleed and blend, and I'll darken some of them in places and lighten them, or keep them lighter in other places. But I think that's my plan for how to deal with this, because I want it to have a sort of organic look. And also that way I can just not have to do too much cleanup or super detail, but still get some kind of like a neat flow and blend. But then dry brushing will bring any highlights out if it gets a little too dark. So I'm not super worried about if it gets super, super dark or anything like that. In case you guys were going like, what is she doing in regards to this miniature, as I've just been...
It looks really dark.
I know, I assume it does. It's really not as dark in real life. It doesn't help that like the sun's setting and it's probably getting a little... Should I like turn up one of my lights or anything, or are we good?
You're okay for now.
Okay, I've been told we're okay for now, but if you guys in the chat feel like it's getting a little too dark or you can't see it super, super well, let me know. I can probably turn up one of my lights. I like dark teals, I think, is the other thing, is why I ended up letting this get kind of heavy. It's because that's just a nice color to me.